Anyone watching the replay, we haven't done these in a few months, and we love connecting with our community. Especially, we just can't shut up sometimes about things that we're seeing with clients, and we just want to share and help some mindset shifts because we know also there's just so much information out there, and we can really lose our way or forget where to focus. And that's really the big theme of today, since we are really talking about overlooked root causes today, especially with gut issues. So, hi, I'm Allison. I think you guys probably know me from Food by Mars. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner. I walk the walk. I've put Hashimoto's into remission, chronic gut issues, especially SIBO. If you know my story, I had it 3 times in a year once. Low FODMAP is my arch nemesis. And I really love helping women just get their life back. Like, we don't need to live on these bland, restrictive diets that literally shrink our world down, because I don't believe, nor personally or professionally, that that's how we heal. And we've got lots of clients to prove that for us. Andrew, I'm just going to put you on mute for now and we'll have
Okay.
Q&A. No problem. Corey, I would love for you to say hi. This is my beautiful Corey. She is our lead functional nutritionist on our team that I always love to have with me here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. So, like Allison, I used to have a lot of issues that were chronic, and I tried a lot of different things. And over time, I was able to get my conditions into remission with diet and lifestyle. And the lifestyle piece actually ended up being a much larger element than I had anticipated. And so over time, I was able to include more foods into my diet while still being in remission. And that's what we want for you.
Yay. Thanks, babe. Okay, awesome. And I would, of course, love to hear more from you guys as we go along, but I'm going to first share my screen. Can everyone see this Word document that I'm sharing? Awesome. It'll just help me stay on track and not rant too much. It can be a little long-winded. But as you have questions, feel free to throw those in the chat. Maybe we'll answer them at the end or during, we'll see. And then if we can do if we have any time for hot seat coaching, we can get to that as well. So, like I said, the biggest theme for today is we want to talk about root causes, especially that we see as going overlooked, even when our people are working with functional medicine doctors, other practitioners, GI doctors. There's just so much that goes missed. And this is why it can often feel like a roller coaster with your healing, or why it can often feel like you're just banging your head against the wall. You're doing all the things, but you don't feel better. You might even feel worse because now you also can eat 5 foods only, or you're just so defeated, so exhausted, and it's been years possibly sunken in with these snowballing issues, right? Because that's the other thing that we see is when there's root cause things going on, the symptoms keep growing and coming, right? So that's the other thing where it can kind of be like over the weeks and months and years, I have another symptom, I have another symptom, and so often they're actually related to the same 3 main root causes that a person might have. And what's so cool that you'll hear me say over and over again is that when we know what those are, like actually know what they are, when we support them in the right way, the body gets its needs met and it will do most of the heavy lifting on its own. That's the good news, is you don't need to sit here over engineering and like brain down to body, like you're broken, you need to do this and you need to do that. We can actually just work smarter, not harder. So that's what me and Corey are really all about. We're not over here with 10-hour morning routines. Like, I'm a mom of 2 kids, a 5.5-year-old daughter and an almost 2-year-old son. I have no time. And I have been able to stay in remission. I have been able to take care of myself, even with not the best sleep. So just for some contrast and example, like, we're not over here like doing 1 million things to get into or stay into remission or, manage our stuff. We've been able to make it easy. So just want you to know more about our ethos as we go along. Okay. So the 3 overlooked root causes, and I'm going to have like a visual for you soon, but I really want to hammer it in if you haven't heard it from me before, is that there is a north to south process when it comes to your digestion. I want you to forget for a moment everything you know about gut healing. like the three R's and like all these little things that you see and absorb when it comes to gut healing. Just please put it out of the way for a second. And let's get down to like brass tacks here. It's a north to south process. It's an assembly line. If you can think of I Love Lucy with the chocolates in the factory, if you can think of a domino effect, whatever visual works well for you, it is that simple. Okay. Yes, it's a very long, intricate process that we only know part of, but it's simple in the sense of like it's north to south. And so what we tend to see is that this principle alone is what is actually missing when we see protocols, like clients that come to us that they're on a protocol already, or they've tried this, they've tried that. Maybe they slapped something together from an online supplement quiz, or their doctor gave them something, or they're doing their own research, like whatever it is. This extremely foundational principle is just missing. So things are not working as well as they could, or maybe they're just totally just like whew, going right over, not addressing it at all. And so all the while we're getting more frustrated, right? So what we really want to do is fix the cracks in the assembly line. And like any factory or assembly line, are you going to go to the end to fix it? Or are you going to go all the way to the beginning to fix it? You've got to go to the beginning. We have to start where it all begins. So three main root causes and things that we look at. Number one, upper GI. This is everything from brain to stomach. So with brain, the most common thing that we see right out of the gate, nervous system dysfunction or dysregulation, however you'd like to call it. A, it can happen all day long. We don't really know how to regulate. Like, right, we might have some tools here and there, but we live in a very stressed out state most of the time. The modern human, don't care what's going on for you personally. Well, I do, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying in general, the modern human is in a stressed out state. Sometimes I'll say, like, we're zoo animals. We're not really in our biology in a lot of ways. We're sitting for 10 hours a day inside, not getting enough sun or fresh air, bombarding our body with chemicals and toxins, and not really being exposed to nature as much as we should. There's so many things that I'm not even talking about food yet. And then, yeah, a lot of us, most of us probably grew up on the standard American diet, right? So it starts there. Like we just see this dysregulation, this dysfunction from chronic stress, whether it be life stress or environmental stress or whatever's going on. And that can be a thing. But then we also see it just when we're eating. So the first step in digestion is brain, because brain needs to be in a parasympathetic nervous system. And it needs to, that's like turning on the light switch for your digestion, essentially. And what that's doing is signaling to every other mechanism in that long process, get ready, food's coming, do your job, let's go. Just think to yourself how much damage alone is done when switch is turned off. So it's like we never actually turned on the process and we just started shoving food in our face. So that's like step one. A real simple thing we can do right then and there, just take a deep breath before you eat. Maybe say grace if that's your thing. Practice some gratitude. Get into a more calm parasympathetic state. You know, if you're taking a 2-minute lunch break while you're working, if you're driving while eating, if you're super stressed out while you're eating because you heard someone say that eggs are bad, and then you heard another person say that lectins are bad, and then what do I even eat? Dysfunction. It's not happening. Is that resonating so far? Yeah. Okay. So that's like out of the gate, something we all have to have that discussion about. Then let's go down here. Mouth. Mouth is the next step. We don't chew our food very well, do we? We don't often chew our food enough. Sometimes there's issues. So in this step of the process, salivary amylase is introduced. It's one of the first ways that we start to break down the food with those enzymes. If you've heard of digestive enzymes, like this is where our own enzymes kick into gear, especially for carbohydrates. Um, and then chewing, of course, the actual act of chewing is breaking down the food. There's more I can get into, but I'll try to keep it brief. But we also need to focus on nasal breathing, because nitric oxide, when we nasal breathe, also breaks down the food. So if you're a mouth breather, if you struggle with that, if you snore, maybe sleep apnea, things like this, you might have some issues there. Um, then we get into the stomach. So it goes down the esophagus, empties out into the stomach. If you've got reflux, heartburn, you're burping up food, or you burp within the first 20 minutes after eating, there's something wrong here. There's a dysfunction, there's a crack in the foundation. And usually, what we will see accompanied with all of this is low and weak stomach acid. If you're someone with low thyroid function, meaning hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, we also have an issue there because it tends to suppress stomach acid. You grew up on the standard American diet, you're stressed, all the things. These all weaken stomach acid. And despite what Western medicine doctors will have us believe, stomach acid is really good and really needed, and it should not be suppressed. If you're on PPIs, you should not be on PPIs longer than 2 to 3 months. It says it right on the medication. Okay. We see sometimes people, they've been left on them for months and years and they're not improving. It doesn't even help. So again, it's like the issue wasn't that you had lower weak stomach acid. 99% of the time, that's not the issue. It's an extremely rare condition to have too much stomach acid. It's usually there's a dysfunction happening up here. So this is the first thing. It can be any myriad of these issues. The first root cause issue that we see going completely overlooked. Okay, we'll tend to see GI doctors or whatever specialists, and I know they're trying to help, and I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but this is just what we see. Probiotics, eat more fiber. Cool. What does that do for any of what I just said? Nothing. Okay. So that's just really critical to know of like, yeah, maybe those things can help you. Maybe. Maybe that's not what you need at all. Or maybe that's not like the biggest bang for your buck, you know? So why spend so much time and effort there or money? Okay, second thing that we get to is liver and gallbladder. Is anyone missing a gallbladder here by any chance? Because this is especially critical for people who are missing the gallbladder. But liver and gallbladder work together to make bile. You know, bile, if you've ever unfortunately been sick and thrown up a lot, it's like that last thing that comes out, doesn't taste good. But that actually really is necessary. Healthy, flowing bile is really necessary to digest and emulsify fats. And it works in tandem with the liver. And this also, if we're struggling here, we struggle sometimes with detoxification efficiently. Okay. And so, especially we see this when people just feel stuck, sluggish, like stagnant in the body. Sandy, if you're getting a removal, make sure you are supplementing with biliary support. Surgeons don't tell people this, and I don't know why. I think they honestly don't know. But that is critical. If you are missing a gallbladder, you have to supplement with biliary support for the foreseeable future because you will not have enough. And so every cell in our body is wrapped in fat. And if we can't digest and emulsify it, I don't care how many avocados and extra virgin olive oil and ghee you're using, it's not going the distance to what it could be. So we have to be able to absorb it. That's the key with digestion. You know how they have that saying, you are what you eat, and then you'll see sometimes like practitioners be like, actually, you are what you absorb or digest. And so that is that nuance of like, you can be eating beautiful food. We'll see food journals where it's like, wow, you are putting so much effort. You're making amazing food. And it's just not being absorbed, unfortunately. And I'll show you what that looks like. Then we have small and large intestine. So this is where we'll tend to see practitioners start, but this is all the way at the end. So small intestine, I'm so bloated, I must have SIBO, right? Large intestine, I'm really constipated, or I have diarrhea, or I'm having food sensitivities constantly, like I can't eat this, I can't eat that, right? Another big thing that we see where some of the issue with like, let's say, especially constipation could be gut motility issues. And that's just literally like the time that it takes Well, that's one thing, right? So the time that it takes to kind of go through the very long intestine, small intestine is that thing, if you've ever heard them say, like, if you laid it out flat, it would be the length of a football field. Like, that's nuts, right? Like, that's inside you right now. And that's how tightly wound it is. If you know what that, you know what it looks like. It's like, okay. And it's so twisty and turny. And so some things that we'll see is for the people that are snacking all day, or eating every 2 hours because that's what they told us to do once upon a time. Well, doctors are still telling people to do that, eat every 2 to 3 hours. Um, so it's just a point of we need to watch that, and that's a whole thing we want to do with balance of nutrition and make sure we have spacing in between our meals. Um, so that what's called the migrating motor complex, MMC for short. It's like kind of a broom that goes through our small intestine and brushes debris, right? And helps bowel movements happen to feel more like complete. Even if you go daily, you might not feel very like finished after. Yeah, and Maria, like every 4 hours would be awesome. 3 is okay, but like when I hear people eating every 2 to 3, or they're shaky and they can't, you know what I mean? They can't even go that long. They're like 3 to 4 hours. I can't even go that long. Or they're moody, or they're getting a headache, or they're reaching for caffeine. Maybe you're eating every 3 to 4 hours, but you need to have coffee in between. Why is that? That's a whole blood sugar discussion. We're going to stick to gut today, but that's a whole blood sugar discussion, and that's a whole thing. Okay. So, food sensitivities, if you've been around me, food sensitivities are predominantly a symptom. They can be healed, they can be overcome. Okay. My candle like just went out and I'm just sorry. Okay. So because of this does mean that even if you are treated for an infection like SIBO, H. pylori, whatever, a parasite, anything, candida, anything like that, it will come right back. Or you're just going to continue to feel the symptoms because the real root cause issue has not really been addressed. It's like, great, you killed an infection maybe, but why did that infection happen? What created an environment in your body for that to even occur? This so many times, and feel free to raise your hand or say in the chat, but like if you've ever been treated for something like this and you're like, I don't feel better. That's certainly something I went through a lot where I was like, do I need to live on antibiotics? I thought too much antibiotic usage was bad. Why am I continuing to be put on SIBO medication all the time? You know? So this is something that's really critical to understand. Um, 3 to 4 pounds of us is bacteria, bugs. We are hosts, guys. And a lot of our bugs are good. They do really good things for us. They convert B vitamins, they do amazing stuff for us. But when they get a little overgrown or when the bad guys come into play, they're not leaving. Like they will do whatever they can to stay. And that's where we have to look at the environment. Okay. These things, your daily habits, your nutrition, your nervous system support, your physical environment help inform that internal environment. So it's never just like, just go on AIP. No, no, I'm sorry. It's not. We would like you to be eating more foods, good whole foods, beautiful, variety, all the things. And sometimes what happens is we can't see past this though, right? But I'm reacting to everything. I get it. But we got to get away from that. Okay. So what we are here to say when it comes to when we say foundations or root cause, knowing where those cracks are in your foundations, knowing exactly what's going on with those, especially for your gut, and what those root cause issues are, allows us to now say, okay, we can actually prioritize what the heck we're doing now in terms of a plan for you instead of throwing like band-aids at every symptom, you know? And then that's how we can work smarter, not harder. Okay, because your body wants to heal. It was made to, whether you think so or not. There were times I definitely was unsure. Especially if you guys have autoimmune and you've heard the whole thing of like your body's attacking yourself. Me and Corey don't subscribe to that. The body is actually protecting you in so many ways. And something's getting hit because of that hypervigilance and the attack that the body is on. So that's truly what's happening. So as we reduce the load in the bucket, as we meet your body where it's at, as we finally say, oh, this is what all those symptoms were pointing to, and we support it there, the body will do most of the heavy lifting. Yeah, there might be some other things that we need to work on. There might be some infections that really do, they need to be treated. But wouldn't it be nice to treat them and know they're not going to come back? You know? Or that even if they do, we know exactly what to do, right? So that's how powerful understanding that is. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So what we do is we do this large symptom analysis. It's like 20, 30 minutes long. It would take you to fill out because when you are so good at deciphering what the messages your body is sending, what they mean, because that's what symptoms are, they're messages from your body. You can actually decipher them and distill them into root causes or into the foundations of your body. That's when you're going to have a better understanding of, oh, so if I pull the lever here and here and here, everything else gets better. That's the magic of understanding that and then knowing what kind of action to take on it. So what we're seeing here is what we call our functional symptom analysis. This is a symptom burden graph from that analysis. And we're literally seeing where in the body are you most burdened. And so, for example, when this person came to us, they started in September. That was the orange line. And so you can see a lot of high priority issues, upper GI. This person had a beautiful food journal, but they were dealing with reflux, heartburn, gas, bloating, constipation. They were so doing their best. They were dealing with food sensitivities and look at their digestion. And then if you look over here at vitamin need, it's way elevated too, because even though this person was eating beautiful, healthy, nutrient dense food, it wasn't being absorbed. So her vitamin need was way up high. She was even taking supplements, but your supplements go through your digestive system. So if you're not absorbing them, you just have expensive pee, that like hot yellow orangey vitamin P, as I call it. Um, and it's, not the most bang for your buck right there. So this is what we tend to see. And when we start to really understand and then do the work holistically, we're looking at your nutrition. We're looking at some key supplements, not a million of them, just some key important supplements that could be super supportive and get you quicker relief. And then those key, like Corey was saying, those key lifestyle components that when we think about those, like circadian rhythm, detoxification support, nervous system regulation, the way you eat, not just what you eat, food sensitivities start improving and you can eat more things without feeling miserable. But we have to look at the whole picture. We have to this allows us to get all the data on the table, zoom out, and actually say, oh, just fix this, this, and this, and everything gets better. So that's what we did for this person. We focused on, so here I just have the uh, three main pieces, the upper GI, liver, and gallbladder, and then I combine these two and those three main root causes. But what we did for this person is their first priority was digestion and detox, and we were able to pull the right triggers with this data. And then you can see in November, 3 months later in the blue, how everything went down. We didn't attack each thing. We just attacked the right things, so to speak, or supported. Attacked is not a word we normally use. Supported. So that's the first piece, digestion and detox. For this person, you can also see her blood sugar was a mess. Now, I just told you she was eating well. She wasn't even eating a ton of sugar. It doesn't really mean that. It means blood sugar is out of whack. So this is where we needed to look at her food journal and really understand what macros could be tweaked. We're not over here tracking macros to death, but we're just saying, here's what an ideal plate would look like for you. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Make it easy, give some yummy recipes, make it expansive so it's not, chicken and sweet potato every day. Get more foods back. not have to keep reaching for the caffeine and the stimulants and the healthy granola bars I made that are in the fridge and the I need this, I need something sweet. Like it's that constant like looking, I'm looking for something. That's hypoglycemia. So if anyone ever feels that way, like they're just constant sugar, I just need something. I'm crashing, I'm moody, I'm hangry, maybe a little shaky, maybe a headache. That's hypoglycemia. And it's going to make it really hard for you to eat well when you're in that state. Your body is begging you to eat sugar, begging you because it doesn't want to faint, because that's dangerous. Okay. And what happens is when we are riding this blood sugar roller coaster all day, our adrenals get involved. So even if you're someone who's like, I'm not stressed out, I live on the beach, I'm chilling, I don't need to work. Like maybe you just have zero life stress. But if I were to see that your adrenals were still up, I'd be like, maybe because there's other stress in the body. That's not quite life stress. So stress comes in so many different forms. And some of you out there are high performing. I don't know if that resonates, but sometimes people will be like, stress level is like a 2 out of 10. And then I hear things and I'm like, no, it's not. Right? So sometimes we also need to like have an aha moment about that. And then we kind of figure out what a third, sweet spot could be to support, such as fatty acids, for example. Someone that's grown up on the standard American diet, even if you've been eating well the past few years, sometimes our biliary duct, our gallbladder and liver are still really struggling because we just didn't get enough fat growing up. We were told it was bad. Right. And then keto came out and everyone's like, oh, eat a ton of fat. And then everyone's gallbladder exploded. Because our body is so smart, you guys. It runs off supply and demand. It is efficient. It is literally the definition of working smarter, not harder. And we come at it and we're throwing all this like spaghetti at the wall. Try this supplement, try this diet, and it's like, really? You joking? No, I'm not set up for this. So we really want to meet it where it's at, work alongside it, support it instead of keep throwing more noise at it. So if you haven't been able to tell, we don't believe in one size fits all gut healing or any kind of healing. And I want you to understand that the biggest reason people stay stuck is that they're actually trying to fix the wrong root cause, or it's in the wrong way, or, it's just missing the mark. Okay. So that's why before we even recommend what type of support could be supportive to you, we are loving analyzing data first so that we can tell you exactly what your body needs to heal to get you to your goals. Can you see how that clarity is like different now? It's like you actually know there's data informing what's been going on. So let me know if there's any questions so far. Oh, thank you, Corey. Corey's been answering some of these. Awesome. Oh, yeah, Sandy, upper GI. Sandy, also, I don't know if there's anything going on with thyroid, but just in case, if you have any thyroid symptoms or you do have a thyroid condition, just make sure they're doing a sonogram, that nodules aren't a reason. We've had people before where they can't swallow pills because they have really large nodules on their thyroid. Your thyroid is very superficial. It's right here. It's not deep into the body. It is right here. So sometimes if we do have nodules or something, it's hard to swallow. And unfortunately, that's another thing that I will sometimes hear doctors gaslight people on, that they won't give them that. You have Hashimoto's and low thyroid. Sandy, please just do that. Do me a favor for that, please. Just make sure. Okay. Especially if they do that, like if they do an endoscopy and they're like, everything looks fine, or there's just like some inflammation. We did a GI map test on someone recently who had just gotten an endoscopy, colonoscopy, and is like, they said everything was fine. I just have inflammation. We did a GI map stool test. H.pylori, which is a carcinogen. This is a precursor to stomach and colon cancers. Like we have to take H. pylori very seriously. Okay. And then overgrowths, parasites, all these things. And it's like that just can't be captured with endoscopies and colonoscopies, unfortunately. We see it all the time. Can you expand on when you said H. pylori comes back after treatment with AB? I have H. pylori and it is a constant battle. Maria, first of all, I'm so glad you're here. I miss you. Um, can you so any infection will come right back when we haven't addressed the environment. Um, Remember how I said 3 to 4 pounds of us are gut bugs? They are persistent. They need a host to survive. They are not going out without a fight. Okay? They're just not. So if a doctor has ever told you, maybe they gave you amoxicillin or augmentin or something for even like an upper respiratory infection, and they're like, take the full course or it won't work, it'll come right back. They say that because gut bugs are smart. They learn the medication you're taking and they find a way to hide or come right back. So H. pylori is notoriously difficult to get rid of, Maria, because it has this like corkscrew motion that it does and it embeds itself. And I know, sorry if I'm grossing you guys out. I don't want anyone to lose their lunch, but it literally like corkscrews inside your gut lining. So, okay, your not gut, stomach, your stomach lining. Your stomach is a bag. Okay. It's not out, it's not here because the stomach acid will kill it. It's scared of stomach acid. It can't live in a strong acidic environment. So, Maria, I will bet you if I looked at your thing, you have low and weak stomach acid because all my H. pylori's do. And so it's easier for H. pylori to stick around. There's no real threat at all for it. And then it's stuck in the lining of the bag. So it's like all the way over here. It also can be passed from partner to partner, kissing, sharing food, sipping from the same straw or cup. Okay. We need to be careful with H. pylori. It's a toughie, but we can get it.